Welcome to the one-on-one call on the CrewAI. This is a demo one-on-one call. How the one-on-one call works with me. These steps, understanding your challenges, discussing possible solutions, reviewing code bases, and finally providing actionable steps. These are the steps that I will be following when you connect with me on the one-on-one calls. It's first about you. So we will discuss how you would like to be supported. Your final goal, for an example, could be deploying an agentic system based on CrewAI into production that is used by hundreds of employees. Probably you are facing a problem in a task completion part where you want to write the data given by the LLM to the file. You are facing a roadblock there, and how are you going to deal with that? So that's what you want to discuss about, and you are sharing it with me. Third, the coding part. You want to share your code base and you want me to review that and understand how it can be resolved. So we will be going through these steps one by one. So we will first discuss about you. Then it comes about me. So what I do best. I dive headfirst into identifying the logic. I'm pretty hands-on when it comes to going through the code and figuring out, reading and figuring out what could be the challenges that you have created. Try to replicate the challenge first of all that you are facing. Hypothesis the possible root causes. Every challenge or every error that you are facing can have multiple root causes, and hypothesizing what could be the root cause and then validate whether that causes are creating that error or that effect. Finally, work on providing actionable insights. That's one of the framework that I have been following for my own projects, and it has worked miracles for me. So let's take the challenges you are facing, and now let me give you some samples of the questions I will ask you. What outcomes are you expecting? In case of CrewAI framework, what kind of tools, LLMs and agents are you using? Because all of these things can create its own set of errors and challenges. So first I'll be asking you these questions. And what have you tried already to resolve this error? Have you tried to figure out by yourself? Have you done some basic debugging by yourself? If not, then I will walk you through that in the next step. When it comes to the code and when it comes to the frameworks in Python, there are hundreds of ways to solve a particular problem. CrewAI agentic framework is not an exception. In case of agentic framework like CrewAI, you can use different tools to solve the same problem. You can use flows instead of just using the crews. You can write the data to the cloud using varieties of APIs out there, and instead of writing it to your local system, that will resolve a lot of challenges. These are all a couple of things that I might discuss with you, and then in fact dive into the code. So this is where I actually go into the idea of choice, your integrated development environment of your choice, and try to review the classes and the functions. So let me open the cursor IDE that I use in for my development, as well as I use LunarVim. If you are comfortable with Vim, then I will be using LunarVim. If not, I'll be using cursor for showing and discussing the code base. So let's start with Coder Crew. So this is one of the scripts that has been already written, and you see, if you are observing it, if you are new to CrewAI and if you are from a background where you know only Python, then just follow along and you can actually understand this much better, because with Python classes and the backgrounds on OOPS concepts, CrewAI becomes way more easier for anybody to follow, even a new coder who has just come across, or a developer who has just come across the agentic framework can easily follow, because it's based on fundamental Python OOPS concepts and getting the things done using the methods. So here you can see that the file writer tool object is getting instantiated, and then as we go down, we can see the code data is getting created by using the code gen task, and then the data write agent comes into picture. So the data write agent is using the file writer tool. We also see that the data write agent object has been properly initialized. It has got the correct tool already assigned to it. We have the task also properly using the agent. And then in case of the crew, in the example that I'm showing, I am not using the data write task. The issue that I was facing in this case was that if I was using the data write task, the LLMs like the Grok Llama 2 or GPT-4o Mini, Claude Haiku, all these models are cheaper models, but they were not able to properly use the file write tool. This is one of the common problems that you will face. So then I decided that, okay, let me avoid using the data write task using that tool, the file write tool, and I decided to create a flow out of it. Instead of directly writing the file data using the LLM, I thought, okay, let us use a flow which calls for the code generator, and then the output of the code gen is written to the local file system using a simple Python file open function. That is what you are seeing here. I'm not diving into the full code here. I'm just showing you the overview. If you are curious about my discussions on CrewAI, you can dive down into the part 13 of this playlist that I'm showing here in my YouTube channel. You will be able to get a full detail about the solution that I was discussing about. Second, as I showed you, we can add a login process in your code. Let us go back and you will see that I have used a lot of print statements. This is one of the essential part of working on any of the code base. Just staring at the code is not going to take you anywhere. You have to type the print statements and see how the code is getting executed. You have to visibly experience what is happening in the code. Then change the logic and review the outcomes. Like as I showed here, I changed the logic completely. Instead of using the crew to write the file, I decided to change the logic, go to the flow and write the file inside the flow using simple Python. Like this, we can work on completely different logics and see how it can work. And I explore all these options ahead of time and keep it ready, like the heuristics that you can use for solving problems. Finally, in this demo, we saw the challenges we faced, and we came up with two ideas. We can actually use flows and Python in CrewAI. The other idea is that we can simply change the package itself. Instead of using CrewAI's own file writer tool, you can actually use Composio's file writer tool, or you can write your own tool and see whether it works better. There are hundreds of different ways to get this particular problem solved. One of the main aspects of working with me will be to brainstorm how the problems can be solved. So all this will be covered in the actionable steps, and then I'll be providing you the output. So that's a brief about how I do one-on-one calls, and I believe that you have got some good idea about my services and how I deal with the challenges that you might be having and solving it for you. With that said, thank you guys, and see you soon.